Hi everyone, so today I want to show you this one. I'm calling this a triple layer pillar card, and it's kind of similar to a few different cards, to be honest with you. I'm kind of going down the whole pillar route at the moment, and block and pillar route, and so this is a card I've come up with. Now this is very similar to, and I can't remember the name of it. It was a pillar card I did before Christmas. I'll try and link it up above. I'll try and link it up here. But yeah, it's very similar to that, but that wasn't what inspired it. What inspired it was the block easel card that I did. And I've also seen another version of that, which I've done, which I should be doing a video for soon, or I might have already done it. I'm not sure what order I'm uploading these in. And I started just having a play, and so this was one that I came up with. So yes, so as you can see, I've gone back to the good old faithful Paper Boutique pad, which was Blooming Beautiful, and it is Blooming Beautiful. And I used a couple of ovals that I already had in, like, just I'd cut out from previous things, and then I cut another oval out there, and then you got space on the back to write your greeting, and it folds flat and it fits in an envelope for a 6x6 card. The actual footprint of this card is slightly different to the one we're doing today, because I've actually made this bit here slightly wider on the one we're doing today, because this fits, I think this is about 5.5, so I thought I'm going to add that extra bit on. But yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, so for this card you need a few little bits, but it's not too bad. So they're my little embellishment things to go on the front. You're going to need, base card wise, let me just move my panels out. I've stuck some of my panels down already, just to make life a little bit easier. So as far as the base card goes, you need two pieces that are 5 3/4 by 7.5. Okay, and then you need one piece that is 4.5 by 5 3/4. This is the bit that's going to go on the back, and these are the bits that are going to make the pillars up. Okay, so we're going to start with the two pieces that are 5 3/4 by 7.5. Now the reason why I went for 5 3/4 and not 6 was simply because you should then be able to fit two of them out of an A4 page. Okay, so that's why I did it. Right, so on the two that are 5 3/4 by 7.5, what you want to do is score along the long edge, and you're going to score at 3/4, at 1.5, 2.25, 3 inches, 4.5, 5.25, 6 inches, and 6 3/4. Okay, and you're going to repeat that on your other piece. A little thing to note as well, this card is 180 GSM. I wouldn't go any thicker than that. 200 tops. I wouldn't go any thicker than 200. That's literally the maximum, because you're gonna have quite a lot of layers. Once you've put your mats, your patterns, and the way they fold up, you've got quite a lot of layers, so you really don't want to go any higher than that. Okay, so we're going to carry on with this one. So now what you want to do is you just want to literally trim off a tiny fraction at either end. Now the reason why you want to do that now after you've scored is because if you do it before, you will end up making that bit too small. So you want to take it off once you've scored, just trim off literally a fraction, like a 1/16 off either end. Okay, so I've done that, and just to prove, this is how much I've trimmed off. You're literally talking like a whisker off each, and it doesn't even have to be even. Like you can see, I've got some that are slightly bigger, but you can see how fine they are. So literally just a whisker off. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and just fold all of your lines and burnish them, and just make sure that they're nice and straight along the top. And you get a good crease on all of them. Okay, so you should end up with two pieces that look like that. So what we're going to do now is you're going to need either red tape or glue, and we're just going to add, so if you take this bit here and you're going to fold in two pieces like that, two strips, and then you're going to put glue on that first one where the cut edge is. Like that. And then we're just going to fold this over on top like that and stick it down. And that should make your first pillar. Okay, so just fold that down. Okay, so I've actually folded it back on itself like that because I'm going to stick the next one down now. So we're going to fold this over like that, and again put glue on that edge like that, and then we're just going to fold the whole thing over like that. So you're basically making two pillars that sit next to each other. So we'll just bend this the other way as well. There we go. So you can see how you've got two pillars. You haven't stuck anything down in the middle here, but you've just got two pillars that are next to each other like that. It's almost like a pair of binoculars. Okay, so that's what you're doing there. So we're going to do the same with the other one. You want to make sure this is not stuck together, because this is where your toppers or whatever you're going to put in the middle of your pillar card, that's where that's going to go. So we're going to do the same with this one. Now I've actually got, so this one here, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, I don't know if you can, but this one here was a little bit too long, so it is sticking up a little bit, and the same with this one. Didn't quite trim enough of it, so they're kind of bumping up against each other. So you do need to make sure that you definitely trim off enough. Trimming off a little bit more is better than trimming off not enough. So if you end up with it just, you know, like 3/4 of an half an inch instead of 3/4 of an inch, that would be fine. You'd end up with a bit of a gap there, but you know, it's fine. It's better that way than having it not, you know, not enough trimmed off. So that's what you end up with. So those are your two sides. So those pieces are going to be like that. So now what we want to do really is stick our pillars onto our back panel. So you want to bring in your 4.5 by 5 3/4. 5 3/4 is the height. So what we're going to do is take our pillar. I'm just going to make sure which way around does this fold best. No, the other way, that way around it folds best. Okay, so let's just give that a crease, make sure that folds. So just work out which way your pillars prefer to fold. And we're going to go ahead and put some, so if I have a look, there's your inside bit. So on this side here, that's where we're going to put some glue or red tape. And we're going to glue that down. So I've put glue on there. I'm going to turn it over. This is where the gluey edge is. And I'm just going to glue it down onto my backing card. Like that. And then just pop it up. I prefer to assemble the card base and then decorate. Just because otherwise you don't really know, for some of the pieces you don't really know where you're sticking them until you've actually assembled it. Right, so now because that wants to go that way, this one is going to need, mine wants to fold that way, so I'm turning it over because everything needs to fold off to the, oh actually this way around. It needs to fold off to the right because this is folding off to the right. So let's have a look here. Yeah, so like that. So if you can see, there's my open bit there, there's my open bit there. The two open bits need to face each other. And so that needs to go that way around. So this one wants to fold that way, which is great because that also wants to fold that way. So that means this is where I'm going to glue, and I'm going to make sure that this edge here lines up with the edge there on my card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one. I'm just going to flip this over to stick this one down so I can get the edge lined up. It's going to be about there. Okay. Now once you've stuck it down, if you just fold it flat and measure it, that should measure, yeah, 6 inches. So this now, folded flat, measures 6 inches wide by 5 3/4 high. So it will fit in an envelope for a 6x6 card. Okay, so next we're going to need to start decorating. So you're going to need, let's start with the back first. Okay, so your mat piece for this piece is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then the white piece of card on top, well, I've done a slightly grey, but it just needs to be plain so you can write on it. That needs to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stick that down onto the back of our card. Okay, so that's your back piece done. So that's where you're going to write your message. I've used one of the decoupage toppers from the Butterfly Kisses pack from Dovecraft. All the papers I'm using are from that same range. Okay, so let's just bend this down a little bit so we've got it sitting up properly. So now what we're going to do is stick on our piece that goes in here. And again, I've mat and laid it already. So the mat piece measures 2 3/4 by 5 3/4, and the pattern is 2 1/2 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that down onto the back section here. Okay, so you end up with that. So next what we want to do is we want to cut out pieces for the front and pieces for the sides. So the 2 front pieces need to be, so these 2 pieces that go on the front, the mat pieces need to be 5/8 by 5 5/8, and the pattern is 1/2 inch by 5 1/2. So you want 2 of those, and they are going to go, as I said, one here and one there. Now the gap, the actual border, is not very big on these because they're such small pieces already. I've gone for the really small border on it, so small you can barely see it. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these 2 down onto the front. Okay, so there's your front pieces stuck down. Now your side pieces, you need 2 mats that are 1 3/8 by 5 5/8, and 2 pattern pieces that are 1 1/4 by 5 1/2. And these are going to go on here and on here. Okay, so that's your that's your base done. Okay, so now we just need to go ahead and add in whatever you want on the inside. So on my original one, I used some ovals which I put together, and then I've got a greeting just bridging the front. If you wanted to, you could put a panel of acetate down the middle there and a panel of acetate at the front. If you're going to put something on the front like that, like acetate, you would need to probably do it before you stick these front panels down, because you'd want to hide the acetate either side. But obviously with mine, I had the greeting over the top, and on this one I'm going to have the decoupage going over the top, so it's not a problem. But just bear in mind, whatever it is you want to do, just bear that in mind before you start sticking your pattern panels down. So yeah, so it depends what you want to do. I'm going to be using this today. So I've got, this is one of the decoupages, so this is going to go in the middle here. That's going to go in the middle there, and then I was going to put this on the front like that, and then I'm going to put a just for you on the top there like that. So that's what I'm planning for mine. Now as you can see here, there's not a great deal of space there, so you can, if you want, and again, if I was going to do this, I should have done this prior, is actually make like a little, I don't know, a little acetate handles that you can then stick underneath. I have them coming out from underneath your pattern layer, just a little bit, so they end up like little tabs, so you can stick them onto, or you can put a sheet of acetate, as I said before, and then stick them on. So whichever way you want to do it, really. I'm just going to try and wing it, basically. Right, so the best way of doing this is if you sort of find out where it roughly needs to be. So let's just move this off to one side like that. Now if I do that there like that, then the other one is going to be roughly in the right place. So you can, it's really up to you how you do this, whichever way you find easiest. Now obviously I've got a point top and bottom, so I need to make sure that those are straight. I think pretty much from my measurements, if I was correct, it's literally just the points of the square that I'm going to lose in there. So with that being so, I'm just going to add some red tape down here. In fact, I could use glue actually. Let me use some glue. You could use red tape. Either red tape or glue is fine. And we're just going to put, this is upside down now, I'm just going to put a layer of glue all the way across here. And I'm just going to put a little bit on this side. Obviously I don't need much on that side because I've got the glue on the other side, but it's just where my little topper is. That's why I need it in there. So with that like that, I'm going to get this, make sure this is central, make sure it's straight. I've got to work quite quickly because I've got glue there going dry. It's about there I think, and then I'm just going to shut it on it, and I'm going to close it the way I want it to go. And actually you can see there, can you see where this line is? That's where that side's going to fit in. So actually that works out quite nicely because I know now that it is straight. That will fit in there nicely. I've got it even either side because of where that one is. Oh, actually, it's a little bit. Let me pull that out a tiny bit. This is the joy of using wet glue. Use wet glue, you have time to fiddle a little bit. Let's just pull that a little bit out. There we go. There. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I'm just wait for that to dry. So that's pretty much dry now. And then we're going to do the same on this side. So I'm going to open that up and I'm going to put glue either side here. And again, I'm just going to put glue all on one side and then just a little bit where the topper's going to go on the other. So topper's going to be about here. Just going to put a little bit of glue there. And then what I want to do is fold that all the way over there, fold that over there, and just shut that down onto it. So you're folding it flat the way it's going to be in the envelope, and you're just sticking it into position. Okay, and then when you open it up, it should then, oh, just give it a quick of a, yep, it should then stand up. Now I've ended up going a bit too far that way and not quite, so it's a little bit further in there than it is there. But I think because this side's now completely dry, that's just how it's just tough. So that's fine, never mind. Now this one, as I said, it's going to go on the front. Now it's just that little bit too, it's a little bit too small. Okay, so as you can see, this if I try and glue this top piece onto this front, I'm going to struggle because I've literally got maybe 1/8 of an inch there to glue it to, so it's not very secure. So I've made some little brackets, some little hinges. And so this piece just measures 3/4 of an inch high by 1/2 an inch wide. And I've scored it in half at 1/4 of an inch. So I then have two little brackets that are basically going to be like little L shapes like that. So if we just fold these up, and I've done it with the base card so that they are literally the same colour as there. So they're going to sit, you won't really see them. I mean, you know, they're kind of visible, but they're not that visible. And I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out of the way. In fact, let me make a little mark so I know roughly where they need to sit. It's going to be about here. About here. Okay, let me just take that out of the way. So I've got a little mark there. You probably can't see it. I've got a little mark there. So I'm just going to take my little hinge, and I'm going to glue one side. And obviously your hinges might be different to my hinges. It depends on what size your piece that you want to stick is. And you want to stick it in so that It's going to be about there. So that you've got it, it's L-shaped that way around, if you can see that. So it's going like that. So I've just stuck it, and then you just to make sure the top bit is flush with the top of the box. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue that top section there, like that. And then we take our piece and we're going to lay that on top. Okay, so I've had a look down and see where it's supposed to be, and I've got a bit of glue on there. That's fine, we can hide that with a bit of butterfly. And we're just going to stick it, so basically that tab is now stuck underneath that ring. So if I hold this up, now ignore the gluey mark, because I'm just going to wait for that to dry a little bit. If I just move this over here, can you see that little, I don't even know if you can see it, it's that hidden. You can sort of see it there. Just in there, you can see a little tab, you can see it stuck on the inside there. So we're going to do the same on this side. So I'm going to take my little hinge, put some glue on one side, and then I'm just going to lift this up. In fact, I'm going to stick it to the underside of this. No, I'm not. I'm going to stick it to the pillar first. So lift this up. It needs to go about there. It's about there it needs to go. Let's just put this down and wiggle it into place. Yeah, it's about there. And then I'm going to stick a bit of glue on the top of it. There we go, like that. And then stick that down. I'm actually going to fold it flat, like this, just to make sure it's definitely in the right place for when we fold it flat in the envelope. Okay, so I've gone ahead and found a couple of butterflies. I'm just going to put them on, that one to hide the gluey mark and the other one just to kind of balance it out. So I'm just going to stick those on. And these were just left over from, these were just kind of part of the decoupage pad. But they're great for hiding gluey marks and just for whatever. Okay, so I've just stopped the butterflies down. I'm going to put a little just for you just there, and that will also help to strengthen it because I'm going to have part of it attached there and part of it on the frame. And I'm just going to use pads, but they're really very thin pads. Okay, so there's your finished card. So as you can see, it's not that difficult to do. And there's so many possibilities you could do with this. I think there's going to be quite a few more variations of this in the upcoming weeks. But as you can see on this one, it's just that little bit more, just that little bit narrower. And I just realised that you could actually add that little extra bit on just to make it a little bit wider. And I think I prefer this. That's a lot, you know, narrow and whatever, but I quite like the size of that. It's quite nice. So yeah, so hopefully you'll have a go. As I said, they both fold flat and they fit in an envelope for a 6x6 card. So yeah, and you can obviously downsize it. Once you've got these two pillars, and you can make them as long as you want. So you could make them, if you wanted like a 5x7, you could make them 7 inches wide and then just cut yourself a 5x7 back and then just stick them on. But obviously you just need to be aware of when you fold it sideways, you're increasing the width. So if you cut a 5x7 backing and stick these on, you're not going to end up with a 5x7 card in the envelope. It's going to be 5 by that extra. So you just need to bear that in mind when you're doing it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed today. Hope you like the cards. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Leave a comment down below. And I'll see you next time. Bye.